interference.
Hey, good evening. Good evening. Welcome tonight. Welcome everyone in the stream. Welcome everyone in the chat. And tonight, me and Dwayne, week three review of pro football. In the professional leagues of the league that we watch. Very interesting games this week. Dwayne is watching actually the overtime game of Las Vegas and the Dolphins, and it's getting a little tricky. Referees having a bad day as usual. As usual. What's up, Wayne?
Now you got to call that pass interference, man. I don't care. I believe, like they say, let him play, but he got there early on a deep ball, and they ain't called pass interference. So now the Dolphins is faced with a 4th and 20. This one's probably over, but
Give me
yeah,
one.
we can
Give me
get right
one.
into it.
Give me
We
one
get
word for the day's games.
eh, like I wasn't in love with all the games today. I thought the Rams Buccaneers would be a classic. It didn't wind up being that for me, at least. Um, Give me 1 second. Holy smokes! The Dolphins just completed a 4th and 20 to keep the drive alive. All right, let me not pay attention. Let's get right into it. Um, I guess that vaunted Washington football team defense is not as vaunted as we thought. I did say this morning that I thought that Josh Allen would have a big game, and he did. Buffalo 43, Washington football team 21.
They're just not that good. The thing is that everybody thought they, like I said last week about Buffalo, with Buffalo's tough loss. Is it a case that maybe some of these teams got fat? That playoff thing where it's about 8 teams, that five to 8 teams every year that switch. That's not there for a reason, because certain teams get to the playoffs off of one possession wins one year and then won't get to the playoffs off of one possession wins the next year. So we both have picked the Buffalo team to beat them. I mean, what more could you say? It ain't even much to even talk about with that game.
It's just that defense on the back end is not good, man. That's all I'm gonna keep saying. Uh, Browns 26, Bears 6. I said this morning that Justin Fields will have a tough day with that Browns defense. Miles Garrett had 4.5 sacks today. 4.5 sacks.
And he probably would have had, Dwayne, just let it be known, he probably would have had 4.5 sacks even if it was Andy Dalton. I mean, I, I think that, and this is what the coach kept saying about starting a young quarterback. Yeah, you saying throw him in the wolves, but a lot of quarterbacks that we've seen, and I'm not giving an excuse for a guy that just don't fan out, but a lot of quarterbacks get shell shocked, and you mess them up early because you don't bring them in slowly. Hopefully that doesn't happen with this kid, but there's no surprise there. The Browns clearly a superior football team, superior roster.
Yeah, let's just keep it going. The Ravens 19, Detroit 17. Justin Tucker with an NFL record 66-yard field goal kick. Lamar Jackson completed a 4th and 19 on this drive, but there is controversy. The NFL is already looking at it. Detroit Lions are probably going to get one of those emails that said, we messed it up. And that gives you no that what does that do you? That doesn't get you your win, getting the email that we messed it up. Before the 66-yard field goal, it should have been a delay of game. The clock was at 0, and it was another 3 beats before Lamar Jackson snapped the ball and threw it out of bounds to stop the clock. But that should have been a 5-yard penalty. And guess what else comes with that? Because they didn't have no timeouts.
A 10-second runoff.
Game over. But the
You
refs
know,
made
like you said, it doesn't mean anything for Detroit. One thing about Detroit is trying to change their culture. He has to get a win quickly, and this is why I thought Detroit. We didn't need both of us picked the Ravens, but we didn't think that Detroit had much of a chance. But uh, for the coach Campbell, He's got to get a win early to get them to believe in what he's trying to do with that system. So I believe it was a very
Oh, that's pass
interesting game.
interference.
I'm
Where's the
I'm, sur-
flag, yo?
I'm surprised that
Oh my
Baltimore
God.
Baltimore is going to have an issue with. They're going to have to throw that football down the field.
The refs just missed another blatant pass interference. The wide receiver got tackled in the end zone by the Raiders. Will Fuller just got tackled in the end zone. You gotta throw that flag. Listen, I know it's overtime, and you really don't want games to be decided like that. But when it's a flag, man. I don't
Mhm.
blame you, Brian Flores. I'll be going crazy too. That's 2 missed calls on the road. That's terrible. Tennessee 25, Colts 16. Give Wentz
Those
credit for playing in the game, but he was 19 of 37 for 194 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions.
quick take. Colts season over
I'm not ready to say it's over
because of the division.
because of the division. I'm not ready to say it's over. You had the Washington football team win the NFC East last year at 7-9. So I'm not ready to say it's over. Doesn't look good. Looks good for the Eagles because Wentz keeps playing and the Colts keep losing. So it looks good for the Eagles. Um, Game of the day: the Chargers beat the Chiefs 30-24. Makes the team that I root for look even better. Um, Patrick Mahomes just didn't look like Patrick Mahomes to me.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and I saw this, and I'm not comparing him to Aaron Rodgers. I saw this with Aaron Rodgers about 6 years ago. Sometimes quarterbacks are so good that they stop relying on their fundamentals and they rely on their skill. Do you think, and I know that the no look pass should have been caught by the receiver. It was a little high, but it touched both hands. Do you think that Patrick Mahomes is relying too much on just, I know I can make this throw instead of playing safe and taking what the defense gets you?
No, it's Andy Reid football. Andy Reid is who we thought he was. He's been that way since he's been the Eagles coach. He's gonna pass the ball, man. He's pass happy. I mean, Edwards Hilaire averaged 5.9 yards rushing today and only got 17 carries. It's not enough. Patrick,
After you seen the way Dallas ran on them, you would think that the Chiefs would take something and say, okay, let's run on them as well.
you would think the young boy, oh damn, they got to go for the field goal now. I don't trust this field goal kicker. Um, Justin Herbert, great game. 26 to 38, 281, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So it's just a great game by the kid. They only had 77 yards rushing. Um, yeah, they only had. Oh, this is not an easy kick. This is from 50 yards. Just bear with me, folks. I got to
No, say it, Dwayne. Your favorite phrase.
never trust a field goal kicker. He made it. He made it. He
And now
made
they
it.
go to sudden death.
Sudden death now. 2:49 to go. Still think the Dolphins got jobbed on 2 pass interference penalties that weren't called. All right, so hey, the Chiefs are
Saints,
1-2. Chargers are 2-1. Chargers,
Raiders, Raiders could possibly be 3-0. Denver's three
Raiders,
and zero.
Denver 3-0. Raiders could be 3-0, and the Chiefs is looking up at everybody. You know, um, New Orleans Saints 28, Patriots 13. I thought the Saints would go in and get this win today. Jameis, it don't look pretty, but it's a win. He was 13 of 21, only 128 yards passing, but 2 touchdown passes. But Sean Payton does what he needs to do to win. Alvin Kamara had 24 carries today, only 89 yards, but
Mm-hmm.
24 carries to control the game. If you're the New England Patriots, you don't want Mac Jones throwing the ball 51 times.
Wow.
51 times, 30 of
Wow.
51. He had one touchdown. He had 3 interceptions, right? One interception was bad. The other 2 interceptions was on receivers. Popping the ball up in the air, not catching them. So, but it's tough when you're at home playing the Saints and your rookie quarterback, got to throw the ball 51 times.
Yeah. Excuse me, Dwayne. Now to the
Yeah, we're going to get through this so you can go to sleep.
Falcons Giants.
Falcons Giants. It was a battle of 2-0-2 teams. Giants lose. It's a terrible loss for the Giants. When you consider their schedule, they needed to get off to a fast start to make their season even matter. Daniel Jones, call him Daniel Jones. No more Danny Dimes, folks. This man is 8-21. He's 8-21 as a starting quarterback in this league. In the last 34 Giant games at MetLife Stadium, they are 9-25 at home.
Wow.
Is it Joe Judge's fault? Is it Daniel Jones' fault? Is it Dave Gettleman's fault? Or is it Marion Tish's fault? I think they all have something to do with this. Like, the New York Football Giants, it's again not even October yet, and potentially their season is over.
Wow.
It's the potential, and that's not hyperbole. I mean, I know there's 14 more games left, but
it's getting to the point, and we know that stadiums, particularly that stadium, is sold out. But for those in the chat that don't know, I know a lot of younger people watch, but most people don't realize that the NFL actually saved the New York Giants in the 70s when we were kids. They sent somebody from the office to be the GM, which was George Young. And the reason why is because the NFL was, before they did the revenue sharing on the TV contracts, the NFL was actually, the Giants was losing money being the number one market. So because the team was so bad. So, like Dwayne's been saying, like, look at the last 8 years, look at what they've been doing. The Giants has really, really had a bad team. They got players. They just don't look well. If you look at the game today, the game just looked weird. I mean, they looked out of sorts. Saquon, and I know he's come back from an injury, but they actually was bragging during the telecast that at one time Daniel Jones led the team in rushing. I mean, that's not something that you should be happy about unless it's Lamar Jackson. I just think that the Giants, I don't know when they're going to get out this rut. It doesn't look good going forward. I'll just say that.
I mean, they got a tough schedule coming up. Heading into the bye is week 10. But if you look at the teams they're playing, they're at New Orleans next week. They're at Dallas after that. They still got to play the Rams, the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Eagles before the bye week. And then they come out of the bye week, and their prize for coming out of the bye week is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So there's an old saying, Yogi Berra used to say it, I believe. If I'm wrong, maybe. He says it gets late early. It could be real late early for the Giants, man. Where they talking about what they're going to do with the number one pick in the draft, because if they stay on this course, I can't see them winning more than 3 games.
And we'll know in the next couple of weeks if we start saying the Giants is on the clock.
Yeah.
If we start saying the Giants is on the clock on our preview shows, just know the damn trouble. Bengals Steelers, man.
Well, we called it. I thought the Bengals would win this game. I thought Joe Barrows would go in there and lead it. I said something this morning. I got a text message from one of my cousins who didn't appreciate it. He's a Steeler fan. But
they got old quick, guys. The Steelers got old quick.
I mean, Ben Roethlisberger, if you look at his numbers, they don't look terrible. I mean, he was 38 of 58 for 318 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Najee Harris, 14 for 40. We got to get this show over because my boy fading fast. He also had 14 receptions for 120 yards. Listen, Pittsburgh should be beating Cincinnati at home. It's just that simple. They didn't. Nice win for the Bengals. Zach Taylor was a coach that I thought was going to hot seat this year. He's off to a 2-on-1 start with Joe Burrow, and we'll see what happens from there.
Jets and the Broncos.
Well, you skipped one. I'll forgive you. We'll go to Jets Broncos. 26-0. That's all I got.
Britt Teddy. Cardinals and the Jags.
Cardinals and Jags. Now, this is the one that I thought was my best bet. And the funny thing about this game is the Cardinals lined up Matt Prater for a 68-yard field goal, which would be the longest field goal in the history of the game. But Agnew for the Jaguars was in the end zone. He caught it and ran it back 109 yards for a touchdown. So that's the longest return in NFL history. So one play, two potential records went by the wayside. And the irony about it, later there was another kick that broke the record. So you had two kicks in week 3, a 68-yarder and another one that we'll get into a little bit later. That we already talked about it.
Yeah, you talked about it.
We already talked about it. So Justin Tucker with his 66-yarder. So think about that. You had a 68-yard attempt and a 66-yard attempt. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And that Dempsey record was there for a long time. I know it got tied, but I don't know many more times we're going to see a 66-yard kick.
Yeah, from that type of kicker, with the history that he's had, probably one of the best all-time kickers, kicking indoors, and he didn't make it by a little margin either.
Mm-hmm. Huge win for the Minnesota Vikings today at home, 30-17.
I felt it.
Seahawks.
I felt it. I felt they were desperate.
Yeah, I didn't think they were going to win it. Both teams are now 1-2, so that's huge.
You know, Dwayne, sometimes that desperation, man, you just win. And I just felt as though Seattle's loss last week was big. They losing at home and somebody run all over. And I just thought that Minnesota being home, being how they lost the first 2 games, they were the lesser team. Wasn't that they played bad the first 2 games. I just think that they just couldn't win. And I just thought that they would win.
You know, I was very critical of Kirk Cousins this morning, and he shut me up. 30 of 38, 323, 3 touchdowns.
Good for happy win for one of my good dearest friends, and she's actually at the game with 2 of her cousins. So the Skull Nation that we know personally was in the building. So proud of them.
Yeah, and a game that the final score looks a lot closer than the game actually was, in my opinion. The Rams, who is the team that I picked to win the Super Bowl this year, beat the Buccaneers 34-24. The world loves Sean McVay, and it's a signature win for him and his program and Matthew Stafford. For so long I rooted against this player because he just wound up being on all the NFC East teams except for the Cowboys. It was good to see Deshaun Jackson back out there and contributing to a win. He had 3 catches for 120 yards today, 1 touchdown. Cooper Kupp is just an amazing talent. He had 9 catches for 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. They kept the Bucs back on their heels. The Bucs defensive tackles, who usually bring pressure up the middle, wasn't able to pressure Stafford up the middle. For the most part, he had a clean pocket. And you don't want a 44-year-old quarterback throwing the ball 55 times.
I think that Tampa Bay was a little pass happy. I think they've been pass happy the last 3 games. I mean, I don't know what Bruce is trying to do with Brady's arm. They've been passing the ball a little too much. You got to run a little. You got to run some. Big, like you said, big win. I'm not a big fan of McVay, but big win for Raheem Morris. Big win for the Rams organization. You know, because they do have a new identity. It's amazing how they kind of transformed their team differently than the team that had lost in the Super Bowl. So big win for them. Like I asked you during the telecast, have we seen a better defensive lineman than Aaron Donald, man. He just wrecks your game plan because you never know where he's gonna line up. So
Yeah,
you basically gotta
He's a
yeah, you
Reggie
basically
White.
gotta roll your coverage over where he's at. So big win for them, man. And that Dolphin game, I guess, is going down to the
Well, it's 3 seconds left, but this is a chip shot field goal for the Raiders. So I'm sure the Raiders will get the 31-28 win. It was my upset special. Um, you know, but the Dolphins came a little short. I think they didn't get help from the refs on two terrible calls, but the Raiders just banged a 21-yard field goal with time expiring in overtime, and the Raiders win 31-28. And the Las Vegas Raiders have now moved to 3-0, and they sit atop the AFC West. Um, the Raiders and them in Denver, both 3-0. The Chargers are 2-1, and the Chiefs is in the bottom of their division. Who would ever thought that was going to happen? So when you look at these divisions, man, now that we're getting through it, of course, there's two more games to be played this week. But if you look at the AFC East, you got the Buffaloes may run away with this division. They're 2-1. The Dolphins are 1-2. The Patriots are 1-2, and the Jets are 0-3. AFC North, you got three 2-1 teams in the AFC North. Bengals, Ravens, Browns, Steelers, 1-2. So AFC North, a very competitive division. The South, Tennessee's going to run away with the South. They're 2-1. Houston's 1-2. Jacksonville's 0-3. The Colts is 0-3. The West we spoke about. NFC East is still NFC least. You got two teams that are 1-1 battling tomorrow night. The football team is 1-2. Giants is 0-3. NFC North, if the Packers lose tonight, just want people to understand this. If the Packers lose tonight, I know it's only week 3. There'll be no team at 500 in NFC North. If the Packers lose, they will fall to 1-2. The Bears are 1-2. The Vikings are 1-2, and the Lions are 0-3. And then the NFC South, 3-0 Carolina, 2-1 Bucks, 2-1 Saints, 1-2 Falcons, and lastly, what may be the best division in football. The Arizona Cardinals are 3-0. The Los Angeles Rams are 3-0. The Seahawks are 1-2. And the 49ers have a chance to go to 3-0 tonight. As we look to that game again, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to pull this one out tonight over the 49ers. Should be interesting. And, that's, another week down, man. 2 more pretty decent games. Packers, 49ers. And then you got that battle
what's
for
your
the,
what's
for
your
the lead
thing?
in the NFC East.
We don't usually preview Monday night's game. What's your thoughts on that game?
I mean, I'm a homer. So I think Dallas finally getting their first home game against a rival team. Um, but the Cowboys are missing a lot of pieces still. No Lael Collins. They're decimated on their defensive line. They don't have defensive ends. One of the surprise players for us this year, Carlos Watkins, he's not playing. So the Cowboys are banged up. I'm not making any excuses because the Eagles don't have Brandon Graham. They don't have their left tackle. So,
Or their right guard, Brandon Brooks, too.
or their right guard. So, it's Eagles Cowboys. Usually those come down to the wire. I hope we can win comfortably tomorrow, but I'm not picking against my squad, especially not against teams in the NFC East. I think
Yeah,
Zeke.
I had picked the 49ers to beat the Packers, so I'm gonna stay with that. I just think that the 49ers are gonna try to run on them a lot. Far as the Monday night game, I just think this is Dallas. To me, is a more superior, talented team. I know that every division rival is good, But I just think that right now, with the balance that we saw in the first two games, is I believe that the coaching staff, Kellen Moore, who me and you talk about a lot, I just believe that he's on his game right now when it comes to attacking a team's weakness. So I expect some very interesting things. I expect Zeke and Tony Pollard to attack the edges running the football. I think that's where you can get them really good. Up the middle, they stout, but you could get them because one thing about Fletcher Cox is he gets tired. He's a big fella. I look for your buddy CD Lamb to do something tomorrow as well. So
Yeah,
we'll
we
see. Let's.
should be a pretty interesting
I
game, man.
think that I think that Trayvon's going to get another interception. I think he's going to get the young fella again.
I
And I
mean,
know
I
that.
like Diggs. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think you will see Micah Parsons playing some defensive end. I don't want them to keep falling in love with that because he's a linebacker and he should be in the middle of the field. Um, we'll see, man. Hopefully, we can see some more of our young corners. I wouldn't mind to see Nashawn Wright get out there, or maybe Marcus Kennedy. As a Cowboy fan, I'm
What
tired.
about number 30?
As a Cowboy fan, I'm tired of seeing Anthony Brown. But you know, I know one thing: when I go into any Cowboys game, I have two major concerns with the Dallas Cowboys. One, the head coach. Two, the special teams coordinator. If it's a close game, I don't trust either one of those gentlemen. Um, I think Mike McCarthy has proven in the last 2 years that he's a terrible game manager. He doesn't call offense, he doesn't call defense. All he's there to do is manage. And for him to come on and get in a press conference and say the clock he was looking at came off the board is unacceptable.
Nothing else I can say after that, sir. Brother, great Sunday, great show as well.
Yes, sir.
I got to get some rest, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for our other show on our other channels as well. And until next week, we got some good football next week as well. I mean,
Yeah, enjoy
we
these
like
two
Dwayne
games.
said. Now this thing done got rolling, so we gonna just keep this thing rolling in the NFL. So till next week, we appreciate you guys for joining us. Wayne, great show, my brother.
Yes, sir.
And let me get these Z's in.
All right, my man.
All right.